What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Giuseppe Montesano, Jimmy Eats Soup, Mitch Kennedy, Original D-Rose, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Mel's 24, Unimento, M Iron 26, Endless, Flat Earth Sage, Goldie McKinnon, Retro Bill, More Books, Cannabear, Bogey, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Maria Nealon's Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, Tina Baker, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Also, Michael Kahn, one of my patrons, put out a video today about Mr. Sensible, so check that out if you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber to Michael Kahn, go and check out his channel. He's making videos humiliating Mr. Sensible. What could be better? With that, I'm going to hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Have a meeting with him and make nice. Nobody wants to listen to me. You get stabbed in the back, you don't turn around to take it in the front.
Well, no, that ain't what I'm saying. I just went ahead and posted one of the behind the curve proofs for Jaron proved the Earth was a sphere. Does this sound like something a scammer would do, Neil?
I know he's a scammer. We all know he's a scammer. He's a projecting scammer. He's a scammer, so he wants to make us to be scammers. I don't know when Nathan's going to wake the frick up. Forget about feeling guilty about Xanadu. He's gone. Huffing up. I know it's a YouTube channel. I understand that. I understand, Nathan, you're a YouTuber. But we're at war here, right? The nature of our reality is at stake. And you're going to see, 20 years from now, the mark we leave. Just like Martin Luther and all of them left a mark on the Reformation. There's a Reformation going on.
You know, my thing is, in the skit that I showed, or not skit, the clip, not skit, Jaron's the one makes the claims about if this happens, then it's a sphere. And that happens, right? Just like Bob did with 15 degrees an hour rotation, you know? So, like, that's the level they're at.
Exactly.
And some people, they may be just so corrupted by nonsense that, you know, it will take something greater than us to get them through.
Well, I think it keeps taking a hammering away at truth. Like, look, that whole 15 degrees an hour, if it wasn't for Nathan's superior intellect turning around into our favor, how would we have recovered from that?
No, we didn't really turn it into our favor, except with people that deal within this small niche community. I mean, there's people are still repeating that.
Yeah, I understand, but it does go. A lot of people have heard it more than you think.
Yeah, but it doesn't really, not as many as heard him, you know, Bob say that's what was happening. Bob.
Oh, I agree. I agree. It did damage. I agree. Still doing damage today.
So whether they're incompetent or just flat out controlled opposition, they have to be stopped.
Do you not think that hearing the fallacies that are used to affirm the globe so many times would lead potentially someone like Jaron to state the fallacy used by the globe and then accidentally affirm it, making it seem like he's making the affirmative statement that if I do this, it'll prove a globe? Because he's heard that so many times. But he just hasn't phrased it as follows. They tell us that if we do this, it'll prove the globe.
No, he was trying to prove a flat plane, but then he gave up in false dichotomy within his own description. Nobody made him do this. This was his air quotation experiment, right? Where he said at 17 feet high, you'll see the light if it's flat, and 23 feet high if it's a globe. And guess where you seen it at? 23 feet high.
Interesting.
I mean, it was that much of a non sequitur, but that's what he was pitching. So I posted the clip. It's like a minute if you want to check it out in Master B. It's one of those funny things where nobody else is talking, just Jaron, just him making the claims. And nobody has to come in and give context or give their interpretation of what he said. Just him.
Okay. Yeah, I've said for the last couple of days now, what we need to do here, I believe what we need to do here is buff up everybody's skills on fallacy and science. That's it. So, in this respect, okay, Jaron's calling us scammers again. Shocking. Yeah, it's like a bee sting. You ever seen any beekeepers do their work? Yeah? If you get stung by a bee, yeah, you're yelling about it because it bloody hurts. I've been stung a couple of times. It hurts. Right? But if you're a beekeeper and you've been stung multiple times, the sting, you can bat it off like it's nothing. After a while, you get used to it. Well, you're a scammer.
Oh my God.
This you're a scammer thing is just like that bee sting. It doesn't sting so deep each time. However, I stand by what I said a couple of days ago. Right? I want to appeal to Jaron. He'd be a formidable opponent if he understood what science versus pseudoscience actually is.
Oh my God, Nathan, what's wrong with you? Come on.
What's wrong with
Are you
me?
seriously gonna
Hold
say that?
on. It's the namesake of the bloody server that it's not you guys that are in now, but you do use the server. Well, what's the name of the server, Neil?
What server? What are you talking about?
Discord server.
Flat Earth debate.
No, that's not what the server's called.
Science versus pseudoscience. Okay, so
So the title.
He don't want it. Oh my God, he don't want it though, Nathan. You can't force feed somebody.
Matter. I'm not suggesting we do. What I'm suggesting is Jaron becomes a useful tool for educating others. And if along the process of utilising his misapprehensions about what science is versus what pseudoscience is, he may benefit from that information. I'm not suggesting we demand that he accepts or appreciates any of it. I'm just saying it's a useful tool, and if it's in his name, hopefully he'll have some benefit from that. People might want to go and see who the guy we're talking about and using as an example in this regard is, which will hopefully benefit. Now, in time, hopefully Jaron will appreciate the same. While I might only have a modest audience, that modest audience could still benefit Jaron. There may be people who, up until this point, have gone, no, I've turned my back on this person, where me encouraging them to go back to him, because he's become a formidable opponent, he knows what science is, he understands fallacies now, then that would benefit him, wouldn't it? And I can only hope that he would cease his constant calling us scammers and understand why we are focused on his misapprehensions, because we want to benefit him. And hopefully the audience would reiterate.
You don't think he knows?
And hopefully the audience would reiterate that when they started to go back to him and his numbers increased, albeit modestly, because it's from my modest audience. But that benefit may be appealing to him on a YouTube level, and in terms of actually utilising the arguments, when he sees the fruits of that, he'll want to do it more. He'll see himself winning. Well, wouldn't you want to utilise that more? So I feel that this is something worth stressing, Neil. As much as it irritates you, I'm prepared to turn the other cheek. Oh, right, he's called us scammers again. Oh, well, we're not.
Well, see, the thing about the beekeeper example is it only takes one sting for any beekeeper to become anaphylactic and die.
Thank you, John. Nathan, come on now. This is not what you're saying it is. I
Okay.
understand.
No. I'm going to qualify that. You can give it me in micromorts.
It's gonna happen.
Hold
Nathan.
on, Neil. Responding to John. Give it me in micromorts. No.
Give it to you in micromorts.
Yes,
what
please.
Is it a measure of bee venom?
No. Micromort is a risk scale. So, for example, walking up and down a set of stairs will have a certain micromort risk value attached to it.
Here we go.
Jumping out of an aeroplane, higher micromort score, higher risk of death. So you can qualify
Right,
how
give me a second.
how risky something is right down to walking up and down stairs or using a toaster. They all have a scale, a micromort scale. They're all on the micromort scale, as arbitrarily, of course, been qualified by as people. My point being that while you may say that my example fails or falls short because there is a chance of anaphylactic shock, nothing I can come back at that with, is there? You are correct, right? However, how many beekeepers suffer anaphylactic shock? I'd like to know how big an occupational hazard it really is, because I would suggest it's probably equal to walking up and down stairs or something. But there we go. That's just my opinion on it. You've watered down my example, though. My example is, right, if you're a weaselly, wimpy Mr. Muscle type, you know, the guy from the cleaning commercial, back when he was a wimpy, skinny guy showing how powerful the chemical was to clean your kitchen. Well, Mr. Muscle used to be wimpy. Well, if he takes a jab in the face, it's going to sting. I mean a punch, right? You stick Mr. Muscle on supplements and steroids and stick him in the gym for 2.5 years and get him in the boxing ring taking jabs left, right and centre to toughen him up. Get to the end of that process. When he takes that next jab, it's nothing like the first one he took. Okay, fine. Now we're not talking about bees. Now we're talking about boxers.
All right, but that's even better because all it takes is 5 pounds of pressure on the right
Oh
spot
my
of your
God.
jaw.
All it takes is one
Put you
punch
to
and the
sleep.
guy's dead in the ring. Yes, okay, there's always that. Okay, right, I've got to acknowledge this, haven't I? There is always the risk when tangling with the pig that you're going to get a bit dirty, right? That is always a risk. However, I feel like pork and therefore let's wrestle pigs. And in wrestling pigs, there is a very small risk that the pig can roll on you, crush you, and you'll die. Nobody here is decrying the understanding and reasonable assumption that there is a risk when wrestling pigs. We all understand that risk. Now, were we to ignore this or fight back with every bit of venom, I think there's going to be losses in both instances. However, my idea can only break even in respect to me saying, no, I think you should go and see Joe, and most of his work's pretty good. He disagrees with us on this, but if I encourage you to go and see him, he'll see that hopefully we're not his enemy, and we're only trying to help. Now, he may see it as such an affront that he wants to call us scammers for it. I don't care. We're going to persist. Turn the other cheek, all that crap.
Not turning the other cheek, Nathan.
Well, hold on,
That's
no,
not
that's
turning
fine.
the other cheek.
Neil, don't bite on that. No, that's fine. But when you ask them to go see his other work, are you talking about the ones where he proves the Earth is a sphere?
Yeah, Nathan.
His words, not mine.
I wasn't paying attention. Well, sorry, what were the words? I was telling my girls to clean up socks that are on the floor.
Oh, no, that's fine. Like when you say to go see his other work, he has other works where he self-proclaims proves the sphere.
No, he doesn't.
I posted it in Discord.
I've heard Jaron
National
moaning
Daily.
about contacting solicitors because of the spin that Behind the Curve put on words that he had used. He pointed out that in the example that they used with that laser, he had various different results. It was done at multiple different times. Many different firing lasers through holes or whatever it was he was doing, right? They just cherry-picked the one that affirmed their belief and edited together with words that he'd said in a string that he'd said them, so to make it look as devastating as possible, to the point where he wanted to contact solicitors to say, can I sue them for this, for misrepresenting what I've said? And the solicitor's response to Jaron was, did you actually say those words in that order? Yes, I did. Well, then you've got no case. So he's obviously taken such an affront to the way it's been presented that he's contacted solicitors over it. So to say, I will take how they've presented it to mean Jaron's intent is this in their context when he's moaning about it, I would suggest is utterly unreasonable. But that's just my opinion.
I'm not
Hold on a
not
second,
suggesting
John.
that. Hold on. I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting that you're pointing them or an audience to material where he's going to affirm their bias in a sphere.
No, Beyond the Curve, or whatever it's called, Behind the Curve on Netflix would do that.
Not just them. Not just them. This is a different one.
Can I tell you what you're doing right now, Nathan? He stabbed you in the back. He's stabbing you again. Now he's being brought to the prosecution, and you're defending him.
Yeah.
He didn't stab me. Holy shit! What's wrong with you?
That's not what I said.
I think that's admirable, Nathan, but I'm just arguing the point.
I get it, and I'm allowing it, aren't I?
Yeah, I think it's admirable of you.
I think it's stupid.
Well, we want to hear your opinion about it, Neil.
Listen, there's certain types of people, and I tried this in all walks of life. There's some people that are just not going to hear anything you have to say. And that's obvious. He's drawn the line. He shot his arrows, and now he's firing them continuously. Just do what we do. That's it. The hell with them.
Okay. Very useful. Thank you.
I think they could be useful learning tools for other people.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's exactly my attitude. But just done without the, we can't possibly be sending people Jaron's way, he's affirming the globe. Bollocks. No, he's not. He's a flat earther. Come on, get real.
Hey, you're gonna fool me.
Well, that's the type of attitude I'm trying to get you to stray away from, Neil.
Well, we know this is a highly pedantic area and topic, right? So to be loose with your words is probably as dangerous as just telling outright lies.
And we will be here to point that out, as we are doing.
I haven't even heard it yet, so I'm just going strictly on what I've been hearing. And I don't think I'm going to listen to it, because it'll just get me angry.
Okay.
Well, watching the video, the one that I posted from the part of me that was a Glober, laughed about it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you could give him both barrels, but what's the point?
Get that ugly face that just came on screen. Gonna look at that stupid looking bastard.
You Linus. Wrong with Linus?
I thought it was Whitson.
It's Linus from Linus Tech Tips.
Yeah, it's really a war with the information, right? It's not really at war with an individual. Like, who cares if it's Sharon showing it or not?
Here's my thing, John, and we've got this argument so concise that if you're really a flat earther, you're climbing on board, and I'm hearing it coming from your lips. I gotta ask myself a question. Why am I not hearing it from that side?
I don't know, Neil.
Either they don't understand it or they've never taken the time to listen because of other reasons.
That's bullshit. They know it.
Know what?
The information that we're putting out here daily. Okay, when I first came to Flat Earth, I was scouring the internet for just more information. Got sucked into the feast of nonsense, came here and said, all right, this is it right here. So that's just me. There are a lot of other people. Same thing with the blind spot. So what's their problem? Is it pride?
No, well, no, you were looking for truth. You didn't think you had truth, right?
Well, no, I was just looking for more information. And then when I started watching Flat Earth debate and I started learning about the fallacies and affirmative consequent and all of that stuff, I never heard that before. Then I should
Right.
go on. Come on, this is not. People find it, and it's solid. That's all I'm saying. It's solid here. And I don't hear it coming from their mouth. If you got a globe killer, they're all about killing a globe, right? This is globe killing arguments. The housekeeping questions, beautiful. I don't hear it coming from them. Makes me wonder.
Right. Well, I ain't saying that they're not good arguments. I mean, hell, we're past the point of argumentation in this topic now, here. But to them, they think they have that. They don't get it. They think by arguing in a second law of thermodynamics violation, sky vacuum, that they're somehow winning a point for flat Earth. They actually believe that.
Yeah, I understand that. But there was a time when Weiss boy over there would send people over here and would hold up Bitcoin. All right? So they know. Don't give me this shit. They know exactly what's coming out of here, and they know how devastating it is because it would have cost Weiss boy some money if it wasn't devastating, if Nathan wasn't able to protect that money. Are you kidding me?
Well, we've introduced a new person to the topic. I don't know why. We should have just stuck with the one we were examining.
I don't know. Maybe it's my Sicilian blood. I have no idea. But I just said, that's it. Maybe I have a vendetta. I have no idea. But I know a snake when I see a snake. And that son of a bitch, he's a snake.
See, now when you say he, there's like, which one? All of them? The one you just mentioned, the one you mentioned before?
Yeah.
So, I mean, okay. I don't know if he's a snake, but
Oh, he's a snake. And I'm kind of hoping that that name is not Italian, Campanella. And I've been looking it up that it is Italian, although it could be, some Spaniards, Latin. It's predominantly an Italian name. Forget this disgrace.
yeah, all I can say is the information he gives out is either wrong or put out in false dichotomy or fallacious, right? It's either he uses void arguments or He's just wrong. So I don't see that as being helpful.
So what was actually said in this new video with McToon? Not MC, McToon.
Who are you asking, Neil, and what are you asking? None of us are McToon.
Matt, I'm asking what was actually said. What did Jaron actually say? He was in a video with McToon, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. You mean his chat with McToon?
Whatever. I guess it was a chat. I was reading it and massively Michael Congress.
A couple of weeks ago. You mean a couple of weeks ago, yeah?
I don't know. I thought it was new.
Chatted to Toon a couple of weeks ago and we covered it.
I have to investigate that. I think it's a new meeting.
Okay. You actually have an outstanding video on exactly that from the video we originally did with Toon a couple of weeks ago. So if you're saying there's a new one, then maybe I need to get this actually released rather than it's currently members only. Play you a little bit, Neil. See what's on screen. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm looking right now for it.
Pretending to be a flat earther. You're watching Jaron now. Unsubscribe. Don't give him money. He's just scamming you. Yeah, I don't know if I want to put this out now. It completely contradicts my sentiment. Obviously, I had a very different attitude when I made this video. Why on earth you'd think he's giving you any flat earth information? All he's done is beg the question of orbits.
Why?
I'm guessing that you would prefer I did release this video, eh, John?
Are you doing this, Jaron?
Well, I don't think it. I don't think it would hurt because it's the information you're attacking. Really, the guy that's saying it, you're also attacking, but the information is the focus of it. I don't see the problem with it.
Do you
Hold
really
on, this
hate
is
Flat
a
Earth
new
that much
video.
that you're going to give McToon all of that for
Yes,
free?
I think it is the case. I think he hates flat earthers. He doesn't want to give his audience that are giving him money the proof that they're so in need of and so desire and are presumably giving them the super chats for. He didn't want to say because Earth's measured flat, as per your examples. He just didn't say it. Like I say, he just counted the money at the end. Money I so sorely need, but have lost out because Jaron's told a massive audience that I'm a scammer because I understand what science is.
Need to actually go anywhere to say, well, a sphere will have this. It's just
the way a
how
sphere
geometry
works. Right, okay.
Right. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? It's just how a sphere works. Response from Jaron? Right. Are you a flat earther? Have you recently been scammed by Jaronism into believing he actually has some flat earth information to give you? Need I present you anything more than this example?
We can do the spherical trigonometry.
We can do, that's Jaron and Toon together, can do the spherical trig. No, you can't. I already responded to this. But I'm a flat earther, one that needs money. I'm really poor.
Spherical geometry for it. You don't need to actually go anywhere to say, well, a sphere will have this. It's just
the way a
how
sphere
geometry
works.
It's just the way a sphere works. Like I say, if you've recently been conned by Jaronism and given him money, know this. Your money would have been much better spent with me.
Right, okay. That's what I'm saying.
Anyway, I may or may not. I'll have to review it again. I made that a couple of weeks ago, so I may release it to the public. I'll have to think about it. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. It's about a 25-minute video.
Well, you may need to.
Hold on, this is a new one. This is round two.
Bloody hell, Neil.
Okay, saying it's a new
You
video
may need to watch the
that
new.
they're talking about, not the other one.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. You may need to watch part two of McToon versus or MC Toon versus Jaren, where Jaren calls the Flat Earth debate and Nathan Oakley a scammer again, as cited by QE.
Yeah, you told me. You know, and I've already said. Okay, like, should we go through the bee analogy again, or what?
I don't think the B analogy was a good one.
Yeah, like I say, regardless of if you like the phraseology, I'm more inclined to turn the other cheek and just explain what science is, how it proves things, how observing a phenomena and varying a presumed cause of it to see if it causes it or not is empirical in nature, and that is science. If it isn't that, it isn't science, and therefore pseudoscience if there's a claim of science attached to it. Now, I would rather continuously reiterate that point, because it takes 2 minutes, rather than even just the intro to that 25-minute video was a rant about me telling people, don't subscribe to Jaren. Well, a couple of weeks later, my attitude's very different. Like, why? What goes around comes around. Well, with that attitude, which did go out on a live show, presumably Jaren's heard that and has responded in kind, right? Now he's calling us scammers again. Okay, well, that's no way to continue, is it? One of us has got to break that cycle. Yeah, okay, he started it. So what? He could say, you started it when you told Bobby I hadn't got a science experiment. Okay, well, your misapprehensions of not knowing what a science experiment was what started it. We could go on forever. I don't want to do it. No. I'd rather educate the audience, if nothing else, about what science is and how science works so that it will work to their benefit. Understanding, observing natural phenomena, formulation of hypothesis with a cause and effect reasoning relationship with an independent and dependent variable and a null that says that your presumed cause won't cause the effect, so that when you vary it, one or other will be proven. That's why it's empirical. Well, I'll just go through that every time. Who cares? Oh, he's called me a scammer again. Oh, well, maybe he's projecting. Could be my response. But that would be to his detriment, wouldn't it? Why not just say, no, science does prove things. Here's how.
Well, see, from Jaren's philosophical point of view, there is no objective truth. There is only there's too many biases that people can have. You can never have the truth of any matter. So if you're asserting that there is an empirical method, you're automatically at odds with his philosophy.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. Maybe my attitude will change with time. Again.
So maybe you're just becoming a freaking wimp.
We're talking
Neil,
about how is it wimpy to turn the other cheek and disseminate the information that's useful? Every time these sort of things happen and I'm listening, forget us, let's say it's Morgile versus Dell. All I want to hear is what I ask for when they're in front of me. What's your primary claim? How are you proving it? That's it. Well, in this instance, what's the primary claim? Science proves things. It's an empirical methodology. What's that? We're being called scammers because it doesn't prove things. Let's show you how it proves things. Let's disseminate the method so you, the audience member who can decide either way, understands how and why it proves things. And therefore, why anybody would want to lie about having it when they haven't.
You're gonna have to draw a line in the sand and see who's on whose side here. It's definitely a line.
Neil, I appreciate what Nathan's doing. He drew a line in the sand, and he's invited people with evidence to cross it. I think it's a good starting point.
I got a better idea. Send him an invitation, have him over for dinner. Maybe his kids will play nice with your kids. Maybe bring a globe.
What's wrong with the globe? That's a very eloquent flat Earth model. Jaron may know that if he paid attention, but what can you do?
Maybe the next time you start saying unsubscribe and hashtag end flat earth debate, maybe it's going to hit you harder in the finances, Nathan. Maybe it's going to affect your livelihood. And maybe
It already
then you'll
has.
realize
It
what I'm
already
saying.
has. It did when Bob did it massively. Little bit less each time.
And I mean, really, the people that you lose in that, they unsubscribed because someone told them to. Is that really the kind of people we want to, or is that the kind of world we want to help build? People that just...
On the one hand, no. No, I'd rather have a dedicated audience of people who are here for truth. Okay. Meanwhile, 90% of the population are fickle and will do exactly as you've just suggested because someone suggested it to them. We only moaned the other day about half the people in audiences, who we won't mention in this particular example, would take the exact same formal logical fallacy to affirm some nonsense on the flat earth side. Well, by that standard, they should still be on a globe because the same fallacy applies. They don't know it's a fallacy. When it's applied to their globe, their flat earth bias, suddenly it's a decent proof. Well, the same formal logical fallacy has been used to prove a globe, but you don't accept it? What a joke. Well, those are the people you're talking about. Well, do I want them from a YouTube perspective? I want as many subscribers as possible. I don't want duplicates. I don't want people to subscribe with 2 accounts. That's why I say in the intro, subscribe if you've not done so already. If you're already subscribed, don't think, oh, I'll try and build his numbers. I'll open another sock account and subscribe. What's the point? Yeah? But do I say unsubscribe if you're a complete mental drongo? No, I don't. But there we go.
But that's one of the side effects of having a debating platform that strives for truth is there are people out there making positive claims that are going to be shown to either be wrong or lying, possibly.
No, it's not. It's to make nice
so
with everybody.
No, the thing is, those people, if are not going to take it well, is what I'm saying. So Nathan has drawn a line in the sand.
What line have I drawn?
You said, this is where we're concerned with truth, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to, there's no way I can phrase, we will be disagreeing with you if you're wrong, but yet we won't, or I won't from this point forward, be encouraging people to unsubscribe from somebody who's friendly, just because we disagree on one particular subject. Now that's a pretty 180-degree turn from... Mike's open. Somebody want to add something?
He's a friendly? Did you just say Germans are friendly? Holy shit, I'm in the wrong place. I'm in Bizarro world.
Yeah, Jaren's a friendly. He's on our side. Yes, Neil. By comparison, is Toon a friendly? No. Nothing Toon does has any benefit to us and ever at all. Other than something to respond to, I suppose. Not on our side, in other words, Neil. Jaren is.
Well, the side is it's either true or it's false, right? That's the sides you're talking to?
No, not really, but because obviously not, but in respect to an appreciation that they've been lied to by the education system into believing that they're on a sphere when they know that the Earth's a flat plane. From that point of view, he's on our side.
Well, he believes it's a flat plane. I will agree with you that he believes that. But does he know it?
I don't know. I can't discern from what he puts out whether or not he actually knows it 100% or not. I don't know.
Right. So the information he's given you or that you have seen that he has put out does not it either allows you to believe it's not a sphere or believe it's a flat plane, but you're not getting any knowledge. You're just getting belief.
He's like
Okay,
a
go ahead, man.
rhino. He's like a Republican. What do they call them? Republicans in name only. A rhino. That's
Okay.
what Sharon is. Flat Earth in name only.
I don't know if I agree with that. Right, I'm going to make a coffee and have a think about this, because there's got to be a solution to this that is beneficial in the respect that there is something that needs criticising, a lack of understanding of science in this respect, and there must be some positive spin that can be put into this. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll figure it out. I'm going to go and make a coffee anyway.
I don't know what I'm going to do with him.
But you don't understand his point. Like,
I
know,
do, but that's not the approach you take. I'm sorry. John, when people keep hammering at you, you gotta come back on.
well, but you can also get the Superman just smoked Timmy effect, right? Timmy's sitting there pulling on Superman's cape over and over again, just nonstop, repeatedly, just annoying Superman to death, right? Well, Superman gets sick of it, smacks Timmy, and shatters every bone in his body. Just puts the wham on him. Now, do you think anybody else in the world cares that Timmy was pulling on his cape?
I understand what you're saying. So what QE says is true. FED bad.
Say what?
FED bad.
Well, what I'm thinking is, you can set the feast of nonsense on fire and make it people's option whether they want to sit down at that burning table. I think the war is with the information. By making it personal, you invite conflict.
I agree. And they make it personal. So they're inviting conflict. And I want to be conflicted with these guys.
Right. But now you don't want the platform in which you are asserting that conflict to be seen to be purely on your side, because it'll give the appearance of a bias, would it not?
Where the hell is this son of a bitch live? It's lucky I don't live in California.
But we'll get some open-toed sandals and go sing. You know what I'm saying? You bring the shovels, eh?
You bring the shovels, I'll bring the lie.
They may have pig farms out there. We may not even need the lime. Just need some hair clippers and some pliers. But
That sounds a little Hannibal Lecter-y.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, Nathan running what? If you're concerned just with truth, right? You could consider that a neutral platform. And, if it's a debatable topic, like, is Jaron doing harm? Right? As long as Nathan keeps neutral, then it's not giving the appearance of a bias. He's able to grow his show, and the information's still able to get out there. So I think that might be the solution.
Anybody in Discord? What does Discord say about this?
Hard to know what to make of it, as it seems a lot of people going off the rails. It's like a disease out there going on.
Anybody else? Righteous, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, a lot of people don't roll with God.
Who's that, Stevie?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't roll with God, Neil.
Stevie, babe, what's happening, man?
Just having fun. Rolling with God.
Rolling with God. I'm in a very noisy truck right now, so I'll try to stay on mute.
I was trying to give Nathan show that big, long, extended silence gap where he gets really irritated and comes back quicker because no one's talking. But y'all just won't let that happen.
Well, it takes a while to make coffee. I haven't even heard the counters being smashed yet. Usually you got to hear the banging of the counter while he's making coffee.
Oh, I want to make me some coffee too. That sounds like a great idea. I got one of those fancy coffee makers though.
Oh, my brother has a nice espresso maker. It's perfect, man. Just a one-shot deal, and it comes with such a nice creamy head on top. Perfect. Maybe that might be the problem too. I'm on 3 espressos every morning, so I'm a little wired up.
That's hard to believe, Neil.
I just don't, listen, I understand where Nate's coming from. I understand. But, and I do think he's feeling a little guilty about the whole situation that happened with Xanadu. But, these guys are beyond. They want to have nothing to do with us. Nothing. It's obvious. It's evident. So
I don't think Nathan feels guilty about that. I think he feels regret that he wasn't able to get through to Bob, but I don't think he feels guilty about that.
I regret, guilt, same shit.
Well, guilt, you'd had to have done something wrong. Nathan didn't do anything wrong, It's really the fault is in the other individual.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're right. I kind of look at it that way because I have regrets because I'm a guilty bastard.
That's also possible too. I was thinking before we get into science, maybe we should explain to people what fields of study are. Like, I didn't think it would have to go back that far, but I think that might be the problem with the Ethereans. They don't understand what a field of study is.
Oh, what was that thing Huey wanted us to get? The theory of what you say? What were we looking for?
Field EFT, electrical field theory.
Electrical field theory. I couldn't find anything on it. I was looking last night.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't, like there's magnetic fields, but they're measured. I don't know. Like the way the wording of that is just like mind bending. What would
Go ahead, John.
I was just gonna say, what would a field of electricity look like? I don't get that.
Exactly. It never did too well. If there was a certain time I did well in school, from like 5th to 8th grade, when we had like a male teacher came into Roman Catholic school I was going to. He used to take us to the park, play hockey, football, and then all of our grades, they all got better. I was just sitting at a desk, and I can't do that, man. I felt like I was in prison. But then you go to high school and like it's the handcuffs are taken off after being in Catholic school for 8 straight years. And then I went nuts. So the only education I'm getting is what I'm getting here. And QE, you know, he's the one that's putting it forward. He's the one that brought it all to Nathan because he saw that Nathan was going to be, you know, Nathan Shaw. He could put people up with him. But I feel like I learned more in the flat earth debate room than I learned in all the years of school. So why is that not happening with everybody? That's my question.
Some people are, I think, and QE explained it to Nathan way one time. It's hard to fill up.
You're roboting, John. You're breaking up.
Was I coming through or was I breaking up too?
We could hear you, Neil. Not heard much from Righteous.
I asked Righteous a direct question. I was ignored.
On outrage.
But can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Yeah.
What I was thinking is maybe the problem with Ethereans are that they don't understand what a field of study is, right? Because you need something to study for it to be a field of study.
Yeah, but that's my point too. Maybe they're sitting in the wrong place. I sat for 8 years in the wrong place. Maybe that's the problem. So my question is, why are they not sitting and listening to the information that's coming out?
Well, they're wanting to jump to science, right? Like, but ether has not been defined for what it is. So you don't even have a field of study that you can assert science within, right?
What is ether?
Right. What field of study would deal with ether? Are you going to say particle physics deals with it? No, that doesn't make any sense, does it?
Well, what is not science, right?
Well, I'm talking about fields of study because that's the what is. The field of study is studying the what is.
But something has to be to study it, correct? I can't study nothing.
Correct. So maybe we're too far ahead for them in this process, that they need to understand that, you know, you need a field of study before you go ahead and start a certain scientific evidence. Right?
Yep. Nice.
And QE says the basic same thing. Like, what are you talking about science for? What is it? He keeps saying that. I don't think people understand what that question, how important it really is to the topic.
In which it say that the ether was scientifically validated? Right? First he said it wasn't science, but didn't he say it was scientifically validated? And what was the natural observed phenomenon? He said, QE played the
Cashmere effect. The Cashmere effect.
Oh, okay.
But see, the Cashmere effect is within particle physics, an area of study he is denying. It doesn't make sense for him to assert the Cashmere effect. You know, it's like, it's mind-numbing.
You ever heard the song by Led Zeppelin, Kashmir?
Yes.
Somebody was saying that that was written about the inevitable fall of America.
People can interpret things a whole bunch of different ways if they want to.
So I listened to it a few times. I think they're right.
Has America fallen? I must have missed it.
It's on the verge.
What does that look like?
We'll soon find out.
We won't, and this whole topic was nonsensical.
How long did all the powers through the world, how long did they last? How long did the Roman Empire last?
Now, Neil, you can either appeal to the future or you can appeal to the past. Don't do them both at the same time, or I'm going to start picking.
How long did the British Empire last?
Did Britain stop existing?
Ask him how long the Roman Empire lasted, Neil.
I asked them the first time.
66 with 6 years.
The Roman Empire, last time I checked, there's still a Holy Roman Empire. What are y'all talking about?
Yeah, called the Vatican, right?
Did it stop existing?
No.
No, and I found out that a lot of these born-again Pentecostal and Baptist churches, they kicked up money to the Vatican. I never knew that. That's a fact.
Guys.
Hey, Chocolate.
Good
What's
morning.
up, Nathan?
Hello, good to have you all. What an encouraging start. Glad we all got warmed up in the pre-show. Let's try that one more time. Welcome, one and all.
Yo, yo.
Hello, everyone.
Yay!
The old Harvard try.
Well, that was a little bit better. Enthusiasm level at 30%. I'll make do with that. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No hypothesis. There's no hypothesis.
No observed phenomenon.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Owen.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Good morning.
Great.
I'm sorry. Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, thank you for doing that in the pre-show, Owen.
What's so good about it? Bow it down again.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
That German
It's a
knows.
big fat negative.
What's that? How many minutes in are we before?
Neutrinos or whatever. They exist in the map.
Neutrinos? What are they?
No, not neutrinos. Neutrinalos or something. It's like a neutrino, except
With a
they
spongy,
can't
nuggety
find
centre?
it yet. So, but they have the model mathematically, and they accept that it exists.
I see. Fascinating stuff.
Yep. Somebody brought that up on my show
Is
today,
that
so that's why I know.
Did it have a viable hypothesis, Arwin, or what?
No, it seemed to be purely mathematical, yet was accepted as being real.
That's truly fascinating. Please share the show. 30 people watching. Woohoo! As we've only just started. Obviously, they're all the regulars. So, yeah, do your thing, regulars. Please share the show. Stick it on Facebook. Stick it on Twitter. Be great to get well up to 100 early on into the show. Okay, so in case you hadn't picked up from Neil's very subtle comment earlier, right early in the show, we've been called scammers again, presumably because we're disseminating the ideas of scientific method and its empirical nature to an audience. And for some reason, that makes people who have claimed science or claimed experiments look silly. And therefore, we are worthy of being deemed scammers as a result of understanding science and its empirical nature.
A bunch of projection again.
Well,
A bunch of haters.
Well, let's not worry about the motivation. Let's worry about the useful tool that it is in terms of what our audience can benefit from this. And I said this in the pre-show. When I'm watching these internal debates, battles, fallouts, whatever you want to call them, all I really want to know is the same sort of things that I ask an opponent or a guest when they're here. What is your primary claim? What is it that you've got to prove it? Well, in this instance, we can boil it down nice and simply. Our primary claim is that science proves things. Now, we are being challenged, and the fact that we are being claimed to be scammers as a result of it is irrelevant. That's our primary claim. Science proves things. How does it do so? Well, it's built into the hypothesis construction, because within the construction you have an empirical methodology. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that after performing an experiment, which is just the actualization of a hypothesis, putting it into actualization means making it real. Rather than it being on paper, it's you doing something in physical reality. So that's an experiment, but we're talking about a hypothesis. Now, in a hypothesis, there's two sides to it. One is the alternative, the other is the null. Now, the alternative is that which you assume or suppose will cause the effect that you are studying or trying to induce. So it's you getting it right. You assume A will cause B. You vary A, it causes B. Therefore, you were proven correct. A causes B, tick. However, the null is the antithesis of that prediction. So instead of A causes B, A doesn't induce the effect. It doesn't cause B. It doesn't give you the result. It's a null, a zero difference outcome, zero difference result. Well, one or other, and only one or other of those two outcomes can be proven true upon variation of a suppositional causal influencer. That is to say that if you vary A, either it will cause the phenomena that you're trying to induce, or it will not cause the phenomena you are trying to induce. Now, only one or other will be proven true. Either tick, A caused B, or tick, A didn't cause B. So when you perform a valid hypothesis-based experiment, that's all an experiment is, hypothesis actualization, you are proving the outcome. You can say with empirical certitude, A did not cause B. That is a proven fact. Or, more usefully, A, which is what you're trying to have as a result, did cause B. That's what you're striving for. Why do I say that? Well, because you don't test for a zero difference result. You're trying to induce the phenomena you're studying. You're not trying to not cause the phenomena you're studying. In other words, you're not trying to test the null. You're trying to test the alternative. You're trying to induce the phenomena that you're studying. So how does this method work? Well, you start by observing a phenomena, something happening in nature, an occurrence that you scratch your head and go, why did that happen? And then you suppose a cause for the phenomena that you observed. Then you vary that which you assume will cause the effect and see if it causes it or not. That's an experiment. So you've gone from step 1, observe phenomena, step 2, suppose a cause, step 3, vary supposed cause, or presumed cause, or yeah, supposed was the right word, supposed cause, and see if it induces the effect. That's it. That's all the scientific method is. Phenomena, hypothesis, experiment. That's it. It's really basic, and at the end, you have empiricism, a proven result. If you look up empirical, it will even say in some of the definitions, to test by experiment. Well, when you have a methodology that gives you empirical outcomes, it's a very useful word, science that is, to use when you don't have empiricism. Timotei makes your hair shiny because science says so. Here comes the science part. Well, no, that's not true. It's not a natural phenomena. It's not a cause and effect relationship that's been put through the scientific method by varying a presumed cause of the effect of shiny hair. It's nonsense. It's not inside the purview of science because it's a man-made phenomena, plastic-covered shiny hair. So, no. But they're using the word to give you, the advertised to audience member, the impression that this has gone through the scientific method, therefore provably true. That's why people use the word of science. Still equally true when an astronomer does it. Starts telling you about black holes or lights in the sky and how they affect the fabric of your universe, how they affect causality itself. These are things that would be within the purview of the scientific method if you're observing a phenomena, aka light in the sky flashing, because you can assume a cause of that and vary it and see if you can induce the effect. But that's not what's occurring. They'll still use the word of science, and when they do, they comport to a different definition, the definition of pseudoscience. What's that? Well, pseudoscience is a claim of science that has not been through the scientific method. That's why we ask daily in the housekeeping questions, any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics. They're observing natural phenomena. Let's see some hypothesis construction and empiricism, for God's sake. If you're going to steal valour from the words of science, let's have some science. They don't have any. Now, where does Jaron come into this? Well, Jaron has appreciated through a lot of research that there's a lot of people out there who say the word science and then are shown to be incorrect, lying, using maths to bend or distort the truth, or invent realities that don't exist at all in some instances, namely Einstein. Well, when all these people claim to sit under the umbrella of science, it's a reasonable assumption to deduce that science is lying to you, when in reality, these pretender clown muppets, like astronomers, are hijacking the empirical terminology of science to lend credence to their just-so stories when they look at lights in the sky. In the same way Timotei is given validation by you, the audience, if you think it's got scientific validity behind it, you'll think the same when some astronomer tells you there's a black hole because he's looked at a twinkling light. He hasn't gone through the scientific method, therefore comporting to the definition of pseudoscience. But you'd have to understand what something is to be called science to understand what something isn't when claimed to be science. Now, this distinguishment hasn't been realised or recognised by Jaron as yet. Regardless of his claims that we are here to scam people, we're not. Smash the super chat, please. Please hit the PayPal link. I'm so poor. We are here to disseminate the truth about science. How understanding how science does prove things will lead you as an audience member, maybe Jaron if he's listening, to understand when someone says the word, how you can prick your ears up and then ask them certain specific questions about what they have done to have the credence they are potentially stealing when they use that word. Okay, that was a long rant about something that's come up recently I haven't actually watched, but I'm going to focus on the useful tool for you, the audience, rather than whether or not our opponent in this instance is worthy of your subscription, worthy of your financial support. It's irrelevant. The useful information here is science does prove things, and we've been lied to with the words of science and not the method, which would have proved things if they had it for the lights in the sky. They don't. That's what we're here to point out. And now I've just done that. That's all that I've got to say on this particular subject when it comes to being called a scammer. I am not. Please smash the super chat.
Yeah, the word science has become like a magic word, like abracadabra. You know, you say science, all of a sudden you've got empiricism. And that's what they want. They want every time you see a dog food commercial or hair product, science. That means it's going to do whatever they're telling you it's going to do because it's been empirically validated that it will do so. Right. And I'm not sure why Jaron has this kind of a flip now with this, because obviously for years what we've done is distinguish the difference between actual science and pseudoscience. And if science wasn't a thing, then pseudoscience wouldn't be a thing. So it's kind of confusing to me why that's happening. But I'm kind of with you, Nathan. Like, yeah, let's just do what we do. Let them work that out. Because if at this stage you're still here, then maybe this is where you need to be. That's okay.
Shout out to Vlad on Flat Earth. TGIF equals thank God it's flat. Great shows lately. Nathan, thank you, and have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you very much indeed, Vlad on Flat Earth, for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. Also, shout out to Daniel, Samanigo. Hopefully I've said your name right. Probably not. I'm sorry if I've butchered it. Really appreciate you gifting out 5 memberships. And then Sensual Goats gifted out 10 memberships. Wow, you two topping each other with the free memberships. And then a whole shed ton of people getting free memberships. So there's a couple of videos, one which we covered in the pre-show. Obviously, as I'm a new member, you get to watch the pre-show before it comes out to the general public a couple of days later on my second channel. Subscribe today if you're not a member, and you get to see it a couple of days later for free on the second channel. But if you are, there's also various edited videos. And I tend to make them while I'm in a frame of mind of the moment and then put them on for the members, and some of them just don't get released. So there's all sorts of stuff peppered through the members-only stuff if you've just been gifted a membership to check out that aren't just endless 3 to 4 hour videos. There's a lot of stuff that I have put a day or two's work into editing and they're just not published to the general public. One of which we had a little look at earlier, which was in respect to this and how my attitude has changed, with a video that I haven't released to the public where I'm saying, don't subscribe to Jaren, unsubscribe, give the money you would give to him to me. I'm poor. He's not reasonable in his assertions. I'm a scammer. He's the scammer. All that kind of crap. Well, I've had a bit of a 180-degree turnabout in that regard over the last couple of weeks. That's then remained as a members-only video and probably won't get published. Although John was keen to encourage me to do exactly that in the pre-show. But you'll hear about that in the pre-show when it gets published later. So thank you, both of you, for gifting out memberships, and welcome. If you're a member, you can check out some of the live streams that go out to members and some of the edited videos, and obviously the Uncut and After Show a couple of days before the public get it. So enjoy. Right, should we do a bit more housekeeping, or if we've got a video we want to cover? What would you like to do, guys? It's up to you today. I'm still, technically speaking, stress testing this computer, hence there's a game on screen, in case you were wondering in the audience. I just want to stress it while it's live. So I didn't do that yesterday, I did it in the after show, but today there's going to be game footage of me dying and then letting it play through, so I'm not too distracted, but it's stressing the computer whilst live, so it's like the maximum stress. If it passes this today and there's no crashes, I can comfortably delete all of these monitoring tools that I've got on my desktop and actually just crack on with having a really good live show. I'm halfway there already. So a couple of people have said, oh, you know, you seemed a lot more relaxed over the last couple of shows. And I am, because I'm not boiling and I've got a seemingly reliable computer. Although there's a fair bit corrupted Windows and other issues with Minecraft. But maybe I'll appeal to people in the audience for help with Minecraft for my eldest daughter in next week's shows. In the meantime, let's do a couple more housekeeping questions. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Sorry. So before you start a new question, I just wanted to comment on the Jaren bit. Seen the guys have posted a Jaren and McToon. It's really frustrating if somebody bothers to learn these things before engaging in debate. But I get nonsense from Roofy, and this is the point we're addressing. This is not making us look good. That's it. Now Roofy's coming at me. Jaren threw some shade on you guys in his chat with McToon, by the way. Something along the lines of, for the guys that think it's a catastrophic for them to be wrong, they stick on the same stupid points. And I think it was in reference to the elevation angle thing. See, all the good stuff we've done, they're not dealing with us. They'll just deal with one tiny bit of retarded misunderstanding. Somebody can't describe what's going off, and they'll run with that. And then it fills up my letterboxes having to deal with it. Very frustrating for those that haven't bothered to learn to go and represent. It's kind of what we're speaking against. Little run.
Right. Ignorance is about as dangerous as what is a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, and it does not help us to disseminate the true information when there are people out there actively looking to undermine us and spread false information or fallacious logic.
I wouldn't say actively undermine. I wouldn't say actively undermine, but it is undermining a lot of the hard work and the message that we're getting out there. Actively, I wouldn't necessarily throw that accusation.
Did I say
but it's not helpful? Yeah.
Well, yeah. If they're doing something to undermine us, they would be actively undermining. Now, are they aware that they're doing it? I don't know. Doesn't matter to me. I would think they are, for them to say it. But then again,
They are.
Okay.
Can you really undermine the truth, though?
No, I don't think so. That's why I'm not too concerned. I kept on saying, you weren't here at the time in the pre-show, that it's like a jab from a boxer when he first steps in the ring versus when he's a 10-year veteran. You know, that jab doesn't quite sting the same. Well, this is the same, right? Okay, we've been called scammers. Just another useful opportunity to talk about what science does, how it proves things. My little ramble earlier, nobody's responded to. Everybody wants to respond to the personal claims and the accusations. Well, fine. Whatever.
That's not personal. It's got nothing to do with who's not disseminating the information correctly and making the information look bad and the presentation look bad. I don't care about the person. I care that somebody is saying, I'm a flat earther, presenting this as evidence. And then when it's presented, not able to describe it. It doesn't matter who it is. Yeah, it could be me. Just apply it as equal to me. It's about, again, your standards. When you go out there and you speak, that you can back up what you're claiming, not just go celestial navigation and having not known about it and not be able to argue with McToon and end up discussing zeniths. I've ended up having to ask Rufy, could you show me where the zenith mirror is on a sextant, please? In retort to this, yeah? Because that's kind of what's required and should have been done. So it's not personal. And please don't take it as personal. It's the information that's not being disseminated that's frustrating me.
So then
Right.
Nathan
Well,
has
I'm
to.
not
So then
trying-
hold on. So then Nathan has to at least try to make them understand.
Yeah, that's all I am doing, Neil. By the same token, where we encourage people to go to our opponent's videos, so I'm like, go and help this guy in the algorithm. It's like, at the bare minimum, shouldn't we do that internally, if not more? In the same way I was like, oh, right, a Mitchell from Australia video. Go and let Mitchell know about Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Nice to be recommending a video. Well, even if we disagree with Jaren, I don't know why. It's because it's so personal when someone on your own side starts calling you a scammer and telling people that you know, they shouldn't be watching or whatever he's saying. That hurts much more than when Toon does it or Ruhif does it, because it's like such an affront to how the attitude should be that you react 10 times worse than potentially you should. Now, what I'm hopefully going to do with my attitude now is say, I want to draw an end to that. We're on the same side, so even though you disagree with my point of view in terms of the scientific method, and indeed are a flat earther, doesn't mean I shouldn't be saying, go and let Jaren know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Help him in the algorithm. And because he's a flat earther, subscribe. I'm sure he's got some other useful information where we don't disagree. In other words, at the very least, offer the same thing that we would offer to ballers. Do you know what I mean? The same common courtesy, rather than don't subscribe to Jaren, avoid him, unsubscribe, he's a scammer. You know, that sort of attitude. Why? We're not saying that about Veritasium. We should. Maybe.
Well, we're not in a agree-disagree genre, really, are we? We're talking about what is. That's not agree-disagree. If he's disagreeing with what is, that's his problem.
But that was kind of my point. Like, is he undermining us when he's speaking against actual, factual, empirical things, or is he just undermining himself? Right? Like, if the truth is out there, right? Like, why? I mean, I don't know. I can go back and forth on this. Like, there's a part of me that feels like, yeah, it does kind of suck because it's somebody that's supposed to be on our side or whatever. But at the same time, it's like people are going to be who they are, right? And if he's here, then maybe that's where he needs to be for now. Who knows? But we can't make him be where we are. We can just go forth and do what we do, which is disseminate the truth as best as we can.
Right, but maybe the problem is that we're perceiving sides to this, right? We're going easy on someone because we perceive them to be on our side. And really, there's no side to it. It either is or you made it up.
Yeah, but what Adam was saying is that he didn't know how to deal with celestial navigation, and it made us look stupid. So this guy's going to have to learn. Well, you know, whoever.
See, that's where I don't agree. If he goes on this guy's show or whatever, that he has a show with this guy, and he makes himself look stupid, or he says something wrong, then that's him. That's not us.
Well,
You know what
okay,
I'm saying?
so
Like-
that, hold on, what did Adam just say? Luffy contacted him and left a bunch of nonsense in his messages. So it
I
affects
think
us
I
because we're
think
talking about it.
maybe it's a personal opinion, but I think Luffy is smart enough to know the difference between us and Jerry. And of course, he's a Glober, right? So, I mean, the Globers will take that to, oh, Jared said this, and oh, Flat Earth Base said that. You know how they like to pit us against each other, even though we're already against each other. They'll use that as ammo, right? To just dig at what they consider are non-people, which are flat earthers. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, let them do what they're gonna
No,
do, man. I
I
can't be
understand what
stressing out over Jared and all these people.
No, that's
That's
what
just
I'm
me
saying.
anyway.
I don't want to stress out about it anymore. And I'm starting to side with Nathan on this now. They can get him schooled up.
Right, but the thing is, the war is in with the information, and these people seem to be trying to make it about everything else but the information. They want to make it about. They want to make it personal. They want to call us names, accuse us of wrongdoing. Like, we don't have to stoop to their level to destroy the information that they're putting out, and it's not personal then. You see my point, as opposed to saying we shouldn't like be upset about it. We should. It should
Yeah, I
still
get
be
you.
upsetting, but not on a personal level. It should be upsetting that this guy is claiming to represent uh, reality, and he's doing the same magic trick that everyone was fooled with. Same magic tricks.
So why don't we get that video and review that video, and where Sharon was stunted, why don't we, like, you know what I'm saying, explain how you handle that, how you defeat that argument that he couldn't defeat.
What was the
I don't know,
argument?
I haven't heard it yet.
What was the argument?
I think it was about, I thought Adam just said about celestial navigation. I have not heard it yet, so I don't know. But Adam said he was arguing sentence instead of killing it.
Adam? Yeah, Adam?
I'm guessing the direction of it is that you can get a zenith from a curved surface, is what they were going for.
What, on a boat?
You know, you can get a 90 degrees.
The reason we have a horizon mirror at sea is because we ascertain that both the zenith and the horizontal from the horizon. We can't use a plumb bob at sea to use your point of reference as your zenith. You could do on land if you wanted to, because you could hang a weight and define your zenith, which you could describe as a tangent to the centre of the earth if you wanted to. But when you're using a sextant, that's not possible. You're at sea on a boat. So both your zenith and your horizontals are defined from the horizon.
Okay. So again, useful opportunity to explain that.
Maybe next time
Exactly.
you don't know how to answer it.
So is that it? Is it no more useful stuff that we can suck out of it other than a lack of understanding of, what was it, reciprocal zenith angle claim on a globe?
Well, I would attack.
John?
The question was addressed to you, Adam. I'm sorry.
I was
Anything
going to say,
else?
well, we're not really discussing reciprocal zeniths here, aren't we? But the claim appeared to be that McToon's referencing elevation angles from the zenith, so the co-angle, and he's able to define them just from the zenith. Therefore, you can take that zenith to the centre of the earth. Therefore, that's the point that's being put. When in actual fact, there's no reference. You could draw a zenith from your horizon, and the zenith of the GP position at the start of its zenith would be a flat baseline to yours, zenith, which would be parallel. That's fine to raise that as a point. But the establishment of the zenith, the claim that at sea with the sextant, you're establishing any angles off of a zenith is the point of confusion.
But even with
and allows
zenith, right?
So it just allows them, where does it allow them to go? To deny the horizon. You want to keep them there, hold them there, because that's the fundamentals of their claim, what that horizon is, what the dip to it is.
Exactly. Why is it when someone, a globe believer, claims that we've got a physical geometric spheroid horizon, that they're suddenly shying away from it and talking about not using it when the method itself specifically uses it? Oh, well, because it proves it's flat by practical application and measurement. So what, we're going to use our zenith? No, we're not. We're going to establish a flat baseline between you and the GP. That's how it's done.
Well,
Same
the
reason
thing
when
is,
you asked them if they had a measurement to it, and they supposedly did, and when that measurement didn't work out, all of a sudden they didn't see it. They claimed not to see it, never seen it. We have an atmosphere. It becomes problematic. That's why you hear things like curvature is negligible, because it's like a wisp. It's like a rumor. It's there when you need it, and when you can't get it, or it's not supposed to be there, it's not there. Don't worry about it.
Most recent was 50 on the and strapped onto the show with us discussing red rhetoric. If you want to look this up on the thumbnail, right at the end of the after show, 50 comes on, and I'm asking him, where's the tangent that you're describing? Because he wants to appeal to a tangent to a sphere when I'm asking how he can get an angle from a sphere, which he can't. And I ask him, well, where is this tangent in your reality? And he doesn't know. It's like, that tangent is Earth curve, but he doesn't know, and he's got to go and check and look it up, and I'll have to, go to the gurus that should not be to find out where I might see this tangent point. It's like, you're talking about Earth curve, you fool. Not only do you not know your claim well enough to know that that tangent point you're appealing to in this maths, when I say you can't get an angle from a curve, would be Earth curve, he's got to literally he's got to take a little consultation session to find out whether or not that's claimable as anything at that point.
I just want to get this in right quick, because when you invoke zenith, why are you invoking zenith? Does it have to do with angles that you're going to pull from it? And does it really help your argument to say zenith when that must be in reference to the horizontal, just like the horizontal must be in reference to the vertical?
Right. Yes, you're correct. In 2 points. One, yes, your latter point, which is that, well, okay, vertical in reference to what? Horizontal. Yeah, that'll be your baseline, even if you're establishing it through a vertical. But I would say it's more reasonable to assume they're doing that because that's what they use in the mirrors of the sextant, right? They've got a zenith mirror.
No.
Oh, right. No. Well, what mirror do they have?
The horizon.
The horizon mirror? Oh, so when people use the tool designed to establish your horizontal baseline with respect to an angle to a star that you're using to navigate, you would do that by establishing horizontal, not vertical.
Correct.
Right. I mean, obviously, notwithstanding John's latter point, which is the two are intrinsic to one another.
They should just call it the curvature mirror.
This reminds me of Keegan saying that the using terrestrial angular size and opposing it with celestial navigation to try to debunk both flat baselines, like that's what that makes me think of when they try to invoke a zenith.
Yeah, it all boils down to
90-degree angle.
Exactly, it all boils down to that 90-degree angle. That's what you need. That's what's being acquired. That's what's being used.
Right, but if you go straight to the 90-degree angle, does it really matter that you skip the step to get there? You still need the Earth to be flat to get that angle. So you've not helped yourself by talking about zeniths if you think you live on a sphere.
No. So in this diagram, although it's not with a star, the baseline, regardless of if you use the mast, it doesn't make any difference. They're saying, no, let's ignore the flat line between you and the 90-degree point below the star, or in this example, the 90-degree point